All right, guys, welcome back to the shack. And after a couple of weeks of having this machine in the shop, I think I'm ready to give you my impressions and my final opinion of the machine. And that is the Atomstack Kraft. You may have noticed a couple of weeks ago I put out my preliminary video of the machine. I had just recently got it in. They were getting ready to launch it. Hadn't used it a lot. Since then, I've been kind of playing with it and using it and testing it, especially in the past week because I've really had nothing else to do. So I've done a lot of testing with the machines, and I've came up with some really good pros and a few cons with the machine. So if you're looking at getting this machine, these are things that you may need to be aware of. I don't know that none of them is going to be a deal breaker, but we're going to talk about the things I like and the things that I don't like. So stick around, we'll be right back. All right, guys, so if you're just dropping in to get my final feelings and my final results of what I think about this machine, go ahead and skip toward the end if that's what you're into, and you can skip past everything and get to my final assessment. If not, stick around and you'll get to see exactly why I feel the way I feel about this machine. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so now I want to go over one of the main components that you're going to need if you're wanting to get more than, let's say, 3 or 4 inches of movement from the Z-axis. In order to accomplish that and be able to raise the machine up, you're going to need the riser base. Now, I am not a fan of any of these machines so far that have had to have a separate riser base. It tends to bring problems anytime you bring that on board with the machine. So far, I don't like any of them with the risers because it creates issues. This one is not an exception. As you can see, the bottom of the machine has this, I guess, cookie crumb tray type piece of material. It is screwed to the bottom of the machine. That's really handy. It's safe. It does have these little ports that are kind of out of sight that allow air to get into the machine so that it can ventilate, which works pretty well. But when you take this thing and you put it on the riser base, you have to take this off. And so that's the problem that I have with the riser base, is when you take that off, now you've got this right here under your machine, because this is the riser base. It does have these little removable plates that go here that cover it up. But there's nothing, once you take that off, there's nothing under your machine. And I checked, guys, because I was like, maybe the crumb tray over there, you know, that crumb tray under there, maybe it attaches to this. But I've looked, and there's no screw holes underneath here. So there's no way to attach the crumb tray to the riser base. So what happens if you're engraving and you've got your honeycomb, because it's made to where the honeycomb sits right here, okay? It's a little sloppy, it's a little slack. I'm not real crazy about the way they put that together, but it's in there. You've just basically got it to where there's nothing under there. Once the material is cut, it goes through the honeycomb, there's nothing but table under there. So either you're going to have to provide your own piece of metal backing, metal sheet for this, or come up with a base to put on this or something. This isn't going to work. So like I said, the riser, other than that, it's okay. As far as exhaust and all that, it does create a little bit more of a problem for that little small exhaust to pull all the air out. But these pop open and would allow you to have a pass through. You know, that's all cool. And the magnets work pretty well. Not one of the worst built risers I've ever seen. But the whole, where's the bottom of it? Where's the base? Because like I said, I can't take that out and put it in here because it doesn't fit. Because it's not, this cookie tray is not as wide as this base of the machine. All right, so remember, guys, I've already told you, I'm not a fan of the risers. A lot of times they're necessary, and I understand why they do it. It's basically so that if you don't need a specific use for the machine, you can order just the machine without the riser. If you want to do the extra things, then you order the riser additionally. This is one of those times, though, that I will say, if you put the riser on this machine, in my opinion, you're not gonna like it as much. If they will come out with a way, and they may do it after seeing this video, of putting a piece of sheet metal on the bottom of a riser to protect the work area, or at least having a removable crumb tray that goes below the honeycomb, that will probably fix just the riser itself. That would fix my concerns with that. But as it sits now, and this was an early release model, so I'll give them slack on that, I'm not going to run the riser on mine because I don't want to take a chance on setting anything on fire. So another thing that I will say is they also sent me the sling bed, and I'm not going to pick it up because the thing's heavy and I'm recovering from back surgery, but it's this guy right here. As far as sling beds go, as far as the accuracy of it moving and it working, it works. It's pretty good. I did some cutting on it, and it cuts. Like, I did big cuts on it. It cut everything out. So as far as functionality-wise, I'd give their bed slinger a pretty good score. Done a good job. But the thing that I will tell you is don't count on having any kind of fume extraction while you're running that, because you have to take the front and the back of the machine completely off, basically, with those two little magnetic panels. And it's just, there's not enough suction with the built-in fan to pull that air up into that machine. So a lot of it's going to escape into your building. I was doing some big cuts and stuff on it, testing it. Like I said, the machine performed well, but it filled my shop up with smoke. So just know that if you do use the bed slider, you're not going to get the best results from the exhaust. Now, with the addition of a 6-inch assist fan on out towards your exit of your building, you get a lot better success with it. But even with all my added upgrades to the system as far as trying to get smoke out of the room, with that bed slinger in here, I could not get it to capture all the smoke. It was still smoking up the room. So there you go on that. Those are my two biggest things. I don't like the bed slingers. I tell them not to send them to me because I don't like them. I don't use them. I think that either you want a big machine or you want a compact machine. I don't really see doing that. A lot of companies do it, and maybe they sell a lot of them, but I'm not one of those guys that sees the need in it. All right, guys. So just so everybody knows, I am not hating on Atomstack at all. Many of you may know I run an A70 Pro here. I've got my A40 or my X40 Max over there on the enclosure Zilla. Those are two of my best machines I have in the shop. This is my Atomstack Rotary. This is the best rotary as far as I'm concerned. This is the best rotary I've had with any laser, regardless. Even the green machine over there, the chuck that comes with it, can't compete with this guy. So I love their stuff, okay? But let me also go and say, what is this? So they kind of lost me with this too. I don't know, maybe it's because of the way the machine is built, but this is the rotary that comes with, like, this came with my X40. Like, this was the standard issue for Atomstack machines. And like I said, it's the best chuck that I've got here in the shop. It's better than the one I've got from my fibers. I like it. But then when they said they're going to send me the new and improved version, this is what showed up. It's plastic. And it's smaller. So this is in no way a dig at Atomstack. Like I said, I love their equipment. The Atomstack Hurricane, other than the sling bed, I didn't like it. And if that's the rotary that goes with it, you know, same applies there. I don't agree with every product they make, but like I said, the X40 Max was, that thing is a train. I love it. Under the hood, this machine looks a lot like the A70. It performs really, really well. All of the performance tests that I have done, every test I've threw at this machine, it has excelled at. I've used it to do cuts. I've used it on wood. I've used it on cork. I've used it on lots of different materials. For a 20-watt machine, I guess because it does have a really small dot size, it's actually doing really good at cutting. I've cut out lots of plywood. This is some like 4.7 millimeter plywood that I have here in the shop. Got nice clean drops on it. My thinner stuff like the basswood and stuff like that you're gonna be cutting. Like I said, this is one pass and doing pretty good speeds with that stuff. Some of the softer 4.5 millimeter materials, I've got it to where I'm doing one pass at about 6 to 7 millimeters a second. So as far as cutting goes, that's not gonna be the machine's heavy. Like, that's not gonna be the big thing that I would be leaning towards this machine for. would be cutting per se with a 20-watt module. But I think if you're looking for something to engrave, and especially if you're just going to be using it in the flat mode like this, working with plywoods, cardboards, cardstocks, cork, anything that you know, whether it's like some of the leatherette sheets and stuff like that, if that's the type of materials you're going to be using, I think this machine is going to do a really good job. The one thing that I will say, the contrast is really good with the machine, dot size, all the good highlights for a machine that does a really good job of engraving. And even through all the testing that I've done, the lens has stayed clean in it. I do like the way that they've got the module and the nozzle and everything put together. They did a really good job on that. Photorealistic stuff, if you're starting to do some photos or that type of thing, I'm having really good results with it still. The contrast, as far as like burn tests and like engrave tests, the contrast that you get from this machine is really, really awesome. The one question that I've been getting the most though, guys, this is my belt tension test that I do, and it nailed it right out of the box. I didn't have to do anything to the machine. Done really, really good on that. The one question that everybody keeps asking me, and this is a big deal that Atomstack's been pushing, because this machine is capable of firing both the 20-watt blue and the 1.2-watt IR at the same time. So everybody keeps asking me, okay, that's, you know, a lot of machines can fire either one of the two. Okay, the advantages I see the Atomstack having are the fact that you have a button on the front of the machine that you can do it with. Secondly, it's auto-focused no matter which module you have on there. You don't have to swap the module out. So as far as convenience, if you wanted that IR capability in a machine that you didn't have to swap the module, I think that's a big plus. I do have other machines that I have IR modules for, and to be honest with you, the module is usually about half the price of the full machine. So if you look at that, if that's what you're needing is the IR module for doing anodized metals and stuff like that, then that could be a bargain or savings built in that you didn't know that you needed. So people are asking me, well, what good is that going to do? What good does running the IR module do as far as, you know, engraving? And my answer is only on certain materials will it make a difference, okay? This is some engraving tests that I did, and if you'll look, you can see that the IR and that one up box up there, I ran nothing but the IR. It didn't do anything to the material, and that is because IR, for the most part, unless there's some kind of finishes in the material or paints or some other substance in the material, IR doesn't interact with organic matter. So that's why no matter whether I did it by itself or if I run both the IR and the blue at the same time, no matter which way I did it, I got the same result. The moral of the story is IR is not going to help you when it comes to wood. Even if you run it at the same time as the blue, it's not going to help you. So I kept testing with other materials. I used metal. I used all of the things. Of course, we know glass is not going to work because neither one of them will actually interact with glass. So I broke down and got one of my anodized tags out, because anodized tags is one of those things I think is, in some markets, I think this is a money maker. I know it's a money maker in my area because we don't have to have the front tags on a vehicle, and so you can put personalized vanity plates on there, business logos and that type of thing. So these are actually a hot topic here where I live, and I like doing them. I've actually got an IR module for my other machines. I've used a different machine with the IR module to do them. The reason that I like IR, and I'm going to go ahead and show you right here. This is my logo done with the IR module of this Atomstack Kraft, and you'll notice it's white. Like it is white. It's not gray, it's not silver, it is white. All right. This is the logo done with the blue laser. And if you'll notice, it's the color of aluminum. It's silver. This is the case use, in my opinion, where the blue and the IR, run them at the same time, is going to give you a unique result that you can't get from other machines. And I'm going to show you why. This is the blue and IR at the same exact, like this is blue and IR. So these settings, let me get over here where you can see. These settings are, as you can see, IR only, blue and IR. All right, so on the blue only right here, or actually this is IR only. On the IR only right here, I did my little alien guy that I like to engrave. And he's a really black and white image. And so he's mostly white with a little bit of shading of black. But when I did that same image using the IR blue combo, I've gotten, and I don't know how easy you can see it, but I've gotten all three. I've got like the silvers, the whites, and the blacks all in the same engrave because this is the combined, this is just IR. Now, I don't know that you would want to, you know, this look to me is not exactly what I would want to have it look like. But if you were playing around with the settings, going a little bit faster, this may actually enable, using the blue and the IR, to do the white feel like this, because this is kind of a white feel. It may actually enable you to be able to do it at higher speeds than what you can get with just the IR only. So that's the only case use so far that I have seen is anodized materials. You definitely get a different look. You can see here, this is IR only, blue only, which basically is just shiny aluminum. Blue and IR, which is kind of a mix. There's a little bit of white paint left in there, a lot of white in there, but a lot of the silver also. And then, of course, another test with the mixed. But that's the biggest advantage to me with IR is you get that white engrave on anodized materials, and I like the way that pops. And using this machine with the blue, you could actually do white and silver designs. Like you can have white and silver and black all in the same design simply by using a different wavelength of the beam to cause that different shading. So instead of only having two colors, now you would actually have three by being able to use the IR capability. All right, guys, to summarize what we've talked about, as far as the machine goes, the ability to have the dual beam laser like it is, I think it's an excellent idea. I think Atomstack did a really good job of executing this machine as it sits here. The one thing that I would have recommended would have been a bigger fan as far as the machine itself goes. This little 2.5, 4-inch fan in here is definitely not as powerful as I would like to see. This is something that you could upgrade using an inline fan, but I think for the size of the chamber in here, a bigger fan would have been nice. Now, the module, the autofocus, everything works as it should. The ability to swap the red and blue lasers in Lightburn is a macro, works really well. Atomstack software, the Atomstack Studio, works really well with it. The software is really simple, so if you did get this machine and you wanted to kind of get started with it and before you went and bought Lightburn, their software, the Atomstack Studio, works really well. That's where you're going to get all your updates for your firmware and stuff like that. You can also access a lot of the settings and turn things on and off in their software. But then as you progress, you could move over into Lightburn. So all in all, I like the machine. I'm not a fan of the peripherals. I don't care for the riser, the way that you have to pick this thing up and set it under there, and then you don't have a place for the crumbs to fall. It exposes the top of your table. I think there's some improvement for that needs to be done. I'm not a fan of the new rollers. I'm going to keep using, or the new chuck and roller. I'm going to keep using my old school one with one of my other Atomstack machines because I'm not a fan of those. But as far as this machine goes, if you're doing sheet material, whether it be wood, leatherette, or anything like that, and you don't need to raise this machine up, you're not planning on doing a lot of tumblers or anything, the machine works really, really well. It's accurate, it's smooth, it's got good speeds. Nothing bad to say about that. So if anybody ever asks you if I would do an honest and fair review, now you know, guys. Like I said, it's not the most flattering review I've done, but it is fair and it is honest. As far as Atomstack goes with the machines, I love most all of their machines. I love most everything they do, but unfortunately sometimes they do things they don't ask me before they do it, and so there are going to be those times to where I'm not going to agree with the direction they went with the machine, and some of these accessories are one of those times. So if you want to look at the machine, you're thinking about buying it, feel free to check down below. I'll have links below. Those are affiliate links with Atomstack. But until next time, guys, be safe and have a good day.